And then the second one that I would say was most dramatic was when I found out that my wife was pregnant with our oldest, simply because in retrospect, I would say I wasn't taking things seriously until then. I was kind of laissez-faire about life, not necessarily about life, but the way that I was approaching not just business, but how I led my life. I was more carefree, less intentional would be a better way to put that.
Today on Leading Lubbock, I'm sitting down with Matt Moreland, commercial real estate agent, vineyard farmer, and fourth-generation entrepreneur. Matt wears a lot of hats, but through it all, he leads with quiet strength, intentionality, and a clear sense of purpose. We talk about real estate, running family businesses, and fatherhood, but at the core, this is a conversation about legacy and faith. This one's rich with wisdom and heart. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to Leading Lubbock. Today I'm sitting down with Matt Moreland. Matt, thank you so much for coming in today, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Ruben.
Absolutely, get to meet. You know, I guess we've run our paths have crossed before, and now I actually get to sit down and spend a little bit more time with you. So it's been a pleasure today to kind of get to know who you are. Matt, real estate agent, commercial agent, so doing a lot of commercial deals, working over with Duncan, who's also been on this show. How long have you been doing that?
So I've been doing real estate since 2017, end of 2017, got into it doing the whole multifamily thing. Then my previous role, I had just been running numbers for investment properties as a W-2 employee. Then when Doug actually told me that, hey, you can make a lot of money doing this for, people trying to buy this end product. You know that, right? Yeah. It's like, what? So he kind of got me into the brokerage side of things and went down that wormhole. And, now 7-8 years later, here I am doing this.
Okay.
Full time. Didn't know I was going to be here. Not what I went to school for. And I could not be happier doing what I'm doing.
That's great. Getting to do a lot of number crunching still.
Oh, yeah. I love numbers.
Yep.
Works out.
Yeah. The main thing that I kind of learned about the differences between residential and commercial, or residential, you're dealing with a lot of factors. It's not just numbers, although it's involved with it, but you're dealing with family, you're dealing with just a lot of life circumstances. Oh, yeah. So it kind of is a different piece of the puzzle. Rather than commercial has its own challenges, but it's much different than the residential side. So there's not emotions a lot of times, it's numbers.
That's really significant differences. So I still help friends and family with the purchase of homes and stuff like that, or my wife and I buying our homes and things like that. The big difference is, with a home sale, you might have someone who, they're worried about the way that the paint looks inside the house or the material that the countertop's made out of. But, if you've got someone looking for a 40,000 square foot warehouse they need in the next 90 days, they're like, I don't care if it has a kitchen. Yeah. Does it have a bathroom? What does it have? I just need to be in somewhere by X date for my business to continue operating.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
Timing and numbers.
Exactly.
It really is a lot of what it is. Yeah, absolutely. In location. They're key factors for sure, but quite a bit different.
A little bit different, but I love what I'm doing. And I love when I do get to help, a college roommate or friend find a property. Then, 3-4 years later, they call me back and say, hey, I think I want to buy a strip center. Right. What, do you know anything about that? Yeah. I'm like, actually, I do. Yeah. Let's sit down and talk, because this could be pretty cool.
I bet you get to open a lot of eyes to what's possible. Like even the people that you are helping, friends and family with homes, but really people that just have opportunities and resources to invest, and to be able to sit down and have conversations with them about what this might look like 20 years from now. If they just do this one thing right now, it becomes more of an asset management too. It's not just commercial sales. But it really is, how can we utilize the resources you have and multiply that over time?
I think a big difference between people looking at residential and commercial real estate is a lot of people think the commercial is not approachable. And especially in Lubbock, Texas, it's a lot more approachable than you'd think. Mm-hmm. A lot of the 4 top strip centers, office buildings, just things around town that you drive by every day are owned by, Mr. and Mrs. Smith who live down your street. And you have no idea. It's not some massive institutional owner out of New York. It's your neighbor. Yeah. And that's their retirement.
Man, what a fun thing to educate people on.
It's fun.
Opening eyes to how accessible this actually is.
And we're definitely blessed and fortunate to be in this market where it is so accessible too. Because you go to some of the primary markets like, Austin or Dallas or Houston, and you see what stuff is moving for. You're like, okay, I'll keep investing. I'll keep investing in West Texas.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so tell me a little bit about your family.
Yeah,
you got a lot going on.
Got my hands full.
Yeah.
I've got a wonderful wife, Lydia. We've been married. We just had our anniversary this past June 29th. So we've been married for 6 years now. Okay. We've got 3 incredible daughters. My oldest daughter, Blair Elizabeth, just turned 5. Then I've got twin daughters, Kiersey and Sutton, who turn 4 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if people didn't catch that's 3 kids in the span of a little over a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think our oldest
put that into context.
Our oldest must have been, I think she was 5 months old when we found out we were having twin daughters. And there was definitely a rush of adrenaline.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Maybe a few tears.
Maybe a few tears.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Excited. Happy tears.
Happy tears. Happy tears for sure.
We were excited. We're so blessed. They're all so different. And, something that I had never thought about before having kids was how much each kid changes you in a different way. And just interacting with each kid because they're their own person.
Yeah.
And they have different quirks, different things that they love, different passions, different things they're really great at. Yeah. And just bouncing off each of them every single day changes you a little bit every day. And I love that.
I love watching kids form especially I've always said about 6 months to 18 months is my absolute favorite. It's
also hilarious.
It is so fun because they're just learning everything about life and themselves and their personality start shining. But I can't imagine multiplying that by 2 and having that going on at the same time. I'm sure there was a lot of change happening in the house, and still you probably
every day.
Every day is new.
Every day. I am on call for all my friends as they have kids. I got pretty good at changing 2 diapers at once. Yeah. So anyone needs to learn how to change diapers super quickly. There was like, hey, Matt, how'd you do 2 at once? Like, I can't figure out 1 at a time. So
exactly.
Like, hold on. Let me grab my daughter's stuffed bear and I'll FaceTime you.
Yeah. That's funny. You probably had the swaddle down. Just real quick with a little blanket. Just, yep.
Oh, yeah. Then when the sleep schedules don't quite line up and they're alternating when they wake up at night.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
But,
you survived it.
Survived it. Yeah. I know in the moment, they say that the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah.
Could not be more true.
Yeah.
I know in the trenches when they're that little, when you first bring them home, and it gets tough at times, but getting to see them grow up, especially like you said, that 6 to 18 month, every morning they wake up, they've gone through some developmental change, it seems like, and it's a new kid every morning at 5, 6 in the morning. You're like,
wait a minute.
Where's that kid I just put to bed last night?
Yeah.
Who's this? Like you're doing different things, trying to say different things.
Yep.
Then when kids start talking, all bets are off.
For sure. Yeah. They start walking, they start talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Off to the races.
Whole nother chapter. Whole new world.
Well, man, that's awesome. I'm excited for you. It's gonna be a fun journey with all these girls.
Thank you.
That you're leading. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, man, let's dive into some leadership. Want to start off with just asking, like, how does leadership show up in your life? Like, where are some of the areas that you see that? And then what does effective leadership look like to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'd say my position in view of effective leadership's changed pretty drastically over the last 15, 20 years. Growing up, going through school and college and everything, my view of a leader was the loudest person in the room telling everyone what to do. And, the more that I was in the workplace and professional settings and interacting with leaders that I looked up to, aspired to be more like, what I saw was a lot of times it's not necessarily the loudest person in the room or the most commanding person who's the best leader. Observing a lot of these great leaders that I've had the pleasure of interacting with, a lot of them are not super extroverted. A lot of them are pretty introverted and introspective. They ask questions before they make calls. And it kind of takes me back to the old Abraham Lincoln parable about sharpening the axe. How he says, if you give me an hour to chop down a tree, I'll spend 45 minutes sharpening my axe. And how that kind of applies to different businesses with good versus not necessarily bad, but a different style of leadership that might not be as effective. So you could have 2 leaders in the same industry, one who sharpens his axe, his metaphorical axe for 45 minutes, and in the last 15 minutes chops down the tree, super clean. that ideal outcome is having a clean log chopped down from that tree. The other leader might still accomplish that goal of chopping the tree down, but at what cost? They're swinging the axe for an hour. Did they break the axe? Did they chip the axe? They're exhausted. And what's that log going to look like when that tree is chopped down? It's going to be pretty chewed up. And I think that kind of applies to our lives as entrepreneurs, how we lead, not just in business, but also family and everything else. Do we want to be the one who spends that time on the front end sharpening our axe? Or do we want to be the one who's, hacking away for an hour? You still achieve the outcome that you wanted, but at what cost?
Yeah, no, that is so good. We use this analogy with agents here about, walking into a forest full of trees, and then, one picking, not taking chops at all the trees, right? But picking the one tree that you want to go after first, and then start hitting at that one for a while. And if you're just starting to mark up the tree, but you're not making any progress, one of the first places to look, and I would even venture to say before you get started, right, to that point of just making sure the what you're doing is the right thing. And that's by making sure you've got the right tree and the right axe. And the right
Should you be
axes.
chopping down a tree right now?
That's exactly right. Yeah. Is that even the right thing to be doing? It's a good point. Yeah. So that's great, man. I agree. I wrote down the loudest person in the room. Goodness. I think sometimes you walk into a meeting and sometimes there is this dominating personality. It could be a meeting, it could be a baseball team, it could be a household, right? But sometimes you have the loudest voice that oftentimes takes that front seat. I'd be curious to hear you even say why? Why do we let that loudest person take that leadership position, and how do we navigate that? As other people in the room, because I think that's something we walk into a lot. It's and that person's naturally maybe even going to step into being a leader because of their voice. And are they the right one?
100%. Yeah, that happens in, I would say, more areas of life than it does not.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that comes down to human nature and sociology, which I'm no expert in sociology. I'll preface this by saying that.
Okay.
Give me a spreadsheet and I'll go to town. But I think a lot of that comes down to it's the easy path forward. And, if we just take the easy path forward, does that always lead to the best outcome?
Yeah.
You can get to the outcome that you desire sometimes, sure. But does that necessarily mean it's the right way to get there? Typically in those situations where that is the case, in my experience at least, you see a lot of people who are rubbed the wrong way. And then the culture starts to dissolve and fall apart because, everyone's like, why is this guy, why is this gal the one who's always telling us to do stuff? They're not doing their own thing. They're not doing what they're telling us to do. And then at that point, infighting begins. And this doesn't just apply to business. This applies to the household as well.
Yeah.
So if you have one person in the home, whether it be the husband, the wife, whoever in the household who's, I wouldn't say commanding, but demanding without being introspective about what they're asking of those around them, I think that leads to toxicity in most environments and is not a good example of good leadership or effective leadership.
Yeah. Over time, it's neat that I get to sit here and hear multiple people talk about leadership, because then I start to hear themes. I start to hear some generalities, I would say. And something that I hear often about leaders and people in that role, a lot of times they're saying it is so much better to pull back for a period of time and just let other people contribute. And it just, I would say the most effective leaders that I've talked to and led some of the bigger places here in Lubbock are saying sometimes I just am quiet and start asking for other people because I don't have all the answers myself. And so that pause, I think, is important, that we're not just saying, hey, I know all the answers, but saying now it's your turn.
Yeah,
I want to hear from you guys. So thanks for that. I 100% agree with you. How about the way that leadership shows up in your life? What are some things that you even do throughout the day on a daily basis to maybe habits or routines that you do that help gear your mind up for being a leader?
Absolutely. So the first thing I do every morning and the last thing I do every day is pray. And that goes throughout the day. So praying over our food as we sit down for a meal together, or even if I'm by myself, but making sure our girls are praying over their food with us and knowing, that that they have a home in Christ, and making sure they have a spiritual home, and knowing what is going on in the world. It's more than about just, it's about more than just us. This is not the end game. This is not our forever home here on this planet in these bodies. And what's really important is not here, and making sure we treat everyone around us in an appropriate way as well, based off of that. We're all children of God, and making sure that they know that. So showing them by example. Something else that we like to do is, make sure that as a household, we're open in our communication, what's going on. And I can't expect our girls to be open if I'm not open in my communication with them, telling them, hey, we're not going to buy this right now. Yes, we could, but we don't need this. Or no, we don't have the money. We're not going to buy, a rock band tour bus to go to the park in.
Sure. Although, man,
it might be kind of cool.
That might be cool.
That's definitely out of the budget, but just showing up is hugely important in leadership, I think, especially in the household. Showing up for my wife, showing up for my girls, showing them what a father figure in the household should be, and how a husband should be, because one day, God willing, they'll be married as well. And I hope that by example, that they find a husband that they can, bring home, and we'll be like, man, he's cool. Mm-hmm. He's really cool. We love him too. And you can't set a bad example for your kids and expect them to do good. So leadership in the household, I think, is incredibly important. And being on the same page with your spouse, whether you're a husband or a wife, making sure that you're a team and there's leadership in a team. And sometimes that leadership goes back and forth in different areas of life. I know very little about girls. So there's some things that I'm like, hey, babe.
Deferring to you. On this one.
Exactly. Yeah, then there's other areas where, hey, I got this. Like, let me talk to her about this. And I think that's important to know that going in and have those discussions throughout your marriage, because each chapter of life changes, and there's different things that happen as you mature and grow up, as your kids get out of the house, as you reach retirement, as you get into your golden years, not years. I'd love some golden years. That might be kind of neat, but just navigating those and leading your family through those. That's what I aspire to do. I fail every day at something different, but I aspire to be 1% better every day and be a better leader for my girls and for my wife at home.
Yeah. So what are you learning right now, or what are you teaching right now? Maybe your 5 and 3-year-olds. Like what does leading them well look like in this season?
So for the 5-year-old, that's a good question, because it seems like we'll get something down, and then the next week we're like, where did you learn that? Mm-hmm. So right now for the 5-year-old, it's definitely like making sure all her social skills are good, like her manners and everything. Yeah. We want her to be polite and obviously continue making lots of friends. And 5-year-olds can be pretty blunt and honest sometimes, as 5-year-olds are. So just when she says something that might be a little bit too blunt sometimes, hey baby, maybe pour some sugar on that, just a little bit.
Right.
Because that was a wild statement. Yeah. Then for the 3 almost 4-year-olds right now, they're both so different. So teaching them different things. Like one of our 3-year-olds right now, she's about this big around, but she eats more than her sisters combined. She's always running around, teaching her moderation and self-control so she can pace herself, because she goes and goes and goes and until she crashes, and sometimes to her own detriment. Yeah. And that's something that I learned too late in life, to the point where I was in my 20s before I figured out, like, hey, you can't just do this 24/7, 365. Like, you got to slow down at some point and stop to smell the flowers and also not run your body into the ground. Yeah. So trying to teach her at this point, like, hey, sometimes it's good to take it a little easy, hang out. You don't have to be sprinting all the time. Then her sister's hilarious. She's the one she's in her own world. She's like, as long as I've got like a nice steak and a plate of bacon, I'm good to go. Y'all do what y'all want to do. I just need some grilled meats.
That's awesome.
Getting her to eat her vegetables is what we're working on right now.
Okay. There's some self-awareness in that too. What I'm hearing is with one of the girls, and just
with each of them.
Yeah. And they're all in their own ways. I think we're all still kind of learning that too, and when to put the the foot to the pedal, and then when to take back a little bit, hold back and rest. I think that's a hard thing to figure out. I'm so guilty of that. I mean, my wife will tell me, like, I don't know that you're trending in the right direction right now. You probably need to take a break. And I do the same thing with her. Like, I see where this is going. I
haven't seen you in 6 days, Ruben.
Right. Exactly. Something needs to change, or you're going to crash and I'm going to go crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is cool because thinking about kids, especially, I'm kind of honing in on this because you're in a unique season with the 3-year-old twins. I mean, not a lot of us can say we've been in your shoes. So you're in a minority for that raising at 100%. So what I love about that, though, is that I think we can look at, as we're building up our kids, ways that we can remember how we need to be built up to. And like, yeah, am I saying things as tactfully as I should say them out loud to another person? Or is there a better way to say this that I can get my point across in love and kindness as well? Without having to be the one with the loudest voice and just spewing whatever comes to my mind.
How can I say this to someone I love? Make this correction to someone I love without it being too harsh.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're all under the same roof.
Yeah. No.
And that applies to the whole world too. Like when you go out in the world, you can't just be saying crazy stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You gotta know how to approach a difficult conversation. And I think the earlier that you know how to approach difficult conversations, how to have those tactfully and make sure they're productive, that's a super powerful skill. That's a skill I wish I learned.
Yeah.
I'm still learning.
Yep.
Can improve that every day.
Yeah. So how about like in your day-to-day life at work? So kind of just switching gears a little bit of like, where do you see leadership kind of coming up and using some of these leadership principles we're even talking about? Like, how does that show up in the day-to-day for Matt?
Great question. So it applies differently in the different businesses that I'm associated with. So in the real estate side, the commercial real estate, a lot of that involves leading my clients through the process, because a lot of folks in the commercial side, they'll say, hey, I want this 12-month lease on this baller space. I just started my shop 6 months ago and we're exploding. We've been running out of this 500 square foot space in a closet, and now we need 12,500 square feet. It's a Class A property on Milwaukee or on Slide 114th, wherever it might be. I think we can afford it. It's like, hey, I would love for you to be in this space, but let's slow down. Let's sit down, talk. We'll talk through your business's financials. Let's also talk about the financials of this property specifically and see if these do line up. Because what I don't want to see is you sign a lease, which usually on something like that, you're looking at least 3 to 5 years, Yeah. I don't want you to sign.
Tell me where those 12 months are.
Yeah. Where can I find this? You're signing a contract typically with a personal guarantee for at least 3 to 5 years. I don't want to see you with this business that is taking off, sign up for this, not knowing what you're getting into. So I want this for you if it's the right thing. But if it's not the right thing, I want to make sure we find you the right thing. And that might be something, in between, or it might be something significantly less, or a lot of times, I'd say 40, 50% of the time, the best thing for the business right then is staying put where they're at until they've grown to a point where, they're not over levered if they are utilizing leverage, or they're at a financial point where, they can just move forward and take that down, buy something or lease it.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty significant problem with businesses, not just in Lubbock, Texas, but in general, is signing up for leases without thinking through, hey, what happens if we have a down market in 4 years from now? Do we have enough cushion that we can absorb that and keep the doors open?
Yeah.
And worse than anything, I hate seeing small businesses shut down. So having those tough conversations, leading those clients through that process, whether it's a happy outcome or not, it's important to do. On the vineyard and winery side of the businesses, I would say it shows up a little bit differently, more in the sense of stepping back, like we talked about earlier. I didn't go to college for enology or viticulture or chemistry or food sciences, anything like that. I can drive a tractor, I can drive a truck, I can drag hoses, but you ask me, hey, what's the terroir of this grape? Where did this come from? What could we do to this to make a delicious wine? I'd be like, it's a red grape. It's a white grape.
Yeah.
It's a black
large
grape.
one.
Yeah.
It's a small one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of seeds in this one.
Yeah.
But I I think in that space specifically, I've had to be better about stepping back and bringing in the people who are the experts, who've been doing this as long as I've been alive, and letting them run with it and asking them questions, because they know far more than I could absorb if I studied for the rest of my life in any of those fields. And just being able to be more hands off and trust the team, because that's why you have an excellent team. You bring on the people that are better than you, and you help build them up so that they can be the best that they are and do the best.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me a little bit about the vineyard. We haven't touched on that much.
Yeah. So our family started in the vineyard space. When would that have been? A little over 7 years ago. We've got about 1,000 acres of vineyards that we farm around West Texas. So just north of Lamesa and Dawson County, then out in the Brownfield, Seagraves, Welsh areas, Meadow as well. Then primarily we started doing that to provide grapes to all the wineries in Texas, because there's a lot of wineries in Texas. And most of those grapes aren't grown down there in the hill country. They're coming up here to West Texas, where it's a lot better climate for grape growing, a lot drier, so a lot less fungicide, pesticide required. And they're pressing that juice off from the fruit and making the wine down there, or selling the wine down there. What we realized quickly, after putting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of vines in the ground, there's not enough facility space in the state to process as much fruit as we have. That's going to be coming online in the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
How do we navigate this?
Okay.
So therefore we built a winery.
Okay.
That was the next step. And when I say winery, I say that very loosely. Technically, it is a winery. It's 22,000 square foot metal wine manufacturing facility.
Okay.
So hyper focused on cleanliness and B2B products. So we harvest the grapes in-house from our vineyards. We press off the fruit on our presses at our facility, go straight into tanks, make the wine for our clientele across the state of Texas and across the country at this point. Can even go all the way to packaging and ship those products out. So rather than taking the initial approach of, heading out west looking for gold, we took the approach of, hey, why don't we sell shovels to the miners? Let's make the best fruit we can possibly grow in Texas. And if folks want to use our winemaking services, let's make the best and cleanest, most shelf-stable wine that can be made in the state. That was our goal from the get-go with that.
So who was all involved in the prepping of this business and launching it and the vision? Because really what I'm wanting to get at is what the statement that you just made. You declared kind of a mission statement, right? With the direction you guys wanted to head. So who was all involved in creating that and then taking that vision to the next step?
Yeah, so that's been my immediate family and I. Okay. So and all of our immediate families from there. So my brother and myself, my parents, my wife, my brother's wife, all of their kids, another family, the Holiday family out of the Lamesa area that we farm with down there. Then it's just continued growing over the years. And it's been beautiful to see all the families that have become part of this larger family.
Yeah.
Which has been neat.
That is really neat. So what's it like working with family? I mean, you don't have to go into the complete details. Tell us what you want to share. But
the best and worst thing. So I love my family. I'm all about family. Grew up, super tight with my entire family. We're super close. My brother's been my best friend, and he lives in Midland. And before we had kiddos, we would regularly make that drive back and forth to hang out between Lubbock and Midland. We're super close. And getting to work with them has been a dream come true. I will say that. So kind of we had invested in real estate together in different ventures in the past. And when we started getting into this thing, we're like, is this a good idea? Because the saying, never work with family.
Yeah.
It's always ends one way, or a lot of times ends one way. We're like, all right, how can we set some guardrails to prevent that from taking place? And if I remember correctly, it's actually part of our operating agreement is that there's, an out if it ever becomes a problem where, if this comes between family, we're done. We're not going to focus on this if it causes any issues with our family. Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing at the end of the day, because you can sell a business. You can't buy a new family.
Right. Is this hard, to separate the work from the family side of things, especially, you talk about holidays or even just hangouts with somebody, the people you love so well.
It can be, but I will say my brother and my dad specifically, my mom and our wives are much more balanced. They have a much more balanced approach at life. But my brother, my dad, and myself, that's what we like to talk about with our wives is business stuff.
Okay.
And so when we're all together, like our fun conversations that we have is we're excited about like, oh, we got this awesome shipment of glass coming in. It's like 2 truckloads coming in. Like, here's the breakdown of the different types, stuff like, not necessarily just that, but, or new ideas for products or how we can, serve clients better. That's what we nerd out about and geek out about. So we love that kind of thing, but there's definitely a switch to it. So family time is family time. I will say, if we're just hanging out, sitting on the back porch, drinking wine, and the kids come outside, it's the switch flips. It's all family, and we're not talking business when we're hanging out with the kiddos and grandkiddos and stuff like that. And that's nice that we're able to do that and not constantly be, hey, what do we need to do in the business right this second? Oh no, go away. Grown-ups are talking right now. It's family first and then the business.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I love that you guys seem to have such a great dynamic together about the vision for the company. Even just relationship side just seems to work together. You got a passion that you guys are all sharing in, so all of that together, man, it just seems like such a great mix. Plus you were proactive enough to say, hey, if we ever get to this point, this is how we're going to resolve it, rather than waiting to get there and then we said we'd never be here. Because that's where I feel like, even as I talk to attorneys about different work situations in the past, they've always said, everybody comes in here and says, we're best friends. Like, this is different than all the other ones. Yeah, nothing will ever happen. We're good. We don't need that agreement. Then something may happen. Right?
I mean, we even had that conversation when we were buying some duplexes together, which were small potatoes compared to going all in on a business together. We're like, hey, if these duplexes ever cause problems between any of us, let's just cut them. Yeah. Let's just sell.
But that's great.
Like you said, to have that thought beforehand, because that's all you hear is oh, this brother's suing this brother, or these parents don't talk to their grandkids anymore. It's like, that's not worth it.
All for business.
Exactly. Yeah. That's trivial.
Man. Yep. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing about that. I think this is a really fascinating side. What's the name of the vineyard?
So we've got a few different vineyards. The large one is Candy County. We also have Primrose Vineyard and Firewheel. Okay. Then the winery is called FermForge, is in fermentation forge, because we craft custom beverages for wineries across the country, and some breweries. Then the new label that we've just come out with and been selling for the last few months is called Viñador, which means vine dresser. Okay. Which is a biblical reference if anyone who picks that up. And we're selling that. We've got the Santa Rita Roja and Blanca sangrias. We've got some dark, dry red Primitivos. We've got some Blanc de Blanc, delicious sparkling white coming out. Some tasty rosés. I'm partial, but they're delicious.
Oh, they sound amazing.
I'll have to get you some.
So, do you sell them locally here to any places in Lubbock? Is there?
I'm not sure who I can say. Oh, okay. But our stuff is served in a lot of local restaurants, breweries. We've got some sangria on tap at a few local places here. That's
very cool,
incredibly delicious. Then y'all can catch me out at the farmers market any Saturday in Wolfforth. Okay. We've got our Roja regulars, as I call them, who come out and get their 4-pack of. They come in 750 or not 750, like beer bottles essentially of sangria. Yeah. Oh, cool. So they'll sneak up on you. So we always recommend, hey, split this, pour it over ice with a friend, because it's like 2-3 something drinks in each bottle. Okay. But
man, that's neat.
It's a good time. You get to meet a lot of really interesting people, especially at the farmers market. A lot of those vendors out there, they might sell bagels or cookies or Rice Krispies on Saturdays. Then they've got this whole business ecosystem that they have the separate business Monday through Friday, and you get to meet some really amazing people.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to come check it out sometime.
Of course.
And hopefully lots of people hearing this too will
Yeah.
head on over and give it a shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So moving back over to the leadership side of things, like, has there been a pivotal moment in your life or career that's kind of shaped who you are today? It's kind of made some differences in your ideas and views of leadership, maybe?
Man, that's hard to pinpoint one precise moment. I'd say there have been a couple. So the first one was when I went from being a bachelor to having a bride and having my wife move in with me, going from, 20-something-year-old who can live off of, protein powder and boiled chicken and, Rice Krispie treats to having this amazing, beautiful human move in with me that I want her to feel comfortable and happy and loved. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta change some stuff. I gotta make this place safe for a wife to live in.
Yeah.
Then
man, you're giving me some flashbacks right now.
I got to get rid of some furniture.
Right.
And then the second one that I would say was most dramatic was when I found out that my wife was pregnant with our oldest, simply because in retrospect, I would say I wasn't taking things seriously until then. I was kind of laissez-faire about life, not necessarily about life, but the way that I was approaching not just business, but how I led my life. I was more carefree, less intentional would be a better way to put that. Once I found out there was a kid on the way, I was like, okay, I want this kid to have a better life than me, to be better than me in every way. And I'm going to do what I need to do to be the best dad for this kid.
Yeah.
And it was, they say it's like a switch flips, and it was definitely a switch that flipped.
Yeah.
Going pretty hard in the paint to try and make that possible so that we could provide for a kid, and the kid would be comfortable, safe, happy, have a very loving home to grow up in. And like we talked about before we started recording with the books that we're reading and stuff, I probably bought like 60 books on being a dad, because at the time I was the youngest person in my friend group to have a kid. No one else in my friend group had kids, because we were pretty young. And fresh out of college, just got married a little over a year later. And it's like I didn't have any peers to consult with about this. And everyone I know that has kids is like 10 years older than me. They're not cool. That was my, I was like, I feel like I can't talk to them about, like, what do I do? So I got books. And what I learned from those books was really, you don't know how to be a good dad until the kid is there.
Yeah.
And the kid teaches you what they need, because the kids teach you. Your kids teach you exactly what they need, how they want to be loved, how they need to be loved and cared for. And that changed how I do business too, and how I lead in business. It's weird to think about it in the moment, because our memory is so short term, but we were all children once. We were all babies once. Yeah. And everyone is someone else's child. And if you think of everyone else's, this was someone's baby at one point that they held in their arms and wanted the best for, and still want the best for. How can I serve not just this person that's my client? How can I serve the people who love them in their lives, who also want the best for them?
Yeah.
And navigating that is definitely something that I've taken more seriously and differently than I would maybe when I was 23, 24 years old.
Do you remember that day? Like the day that you found out your wife told you that she was pregnant?
Yeah. So the night before, we were sitting at the kitchen table and we were making plans. We decided, I think 28's a good age to start trying for kids. And
oh man.
The next morning we went to the gym, and she's like, "Hey, I don't feel so good. I'm gonna go wait up front. I'll meet you up front here in a minute." We stopped on the way home. About an hour later, she's like, "Hey, I'm pregnant."
Oh man.
So the next day, so she would have been.
You make plans, man. Got something in store for you.
Oh yeah, he says, "Bet."
Yeah.
I got better plans for you.
That's right.
This is my plan. This is the right one. And that's, I think I would not be where I am today if I had not gotten the experience of fatherhood. And the tenderness that requires of you as a father is significantly different than the tenderness required in a romantic relationship with a spouse.
Yeah.
A baby is helpless. They can't do anything for themselves, especially those first few weeks. You have to do everything for them and help them, protect them, feed them, change them, take care of them, clean them. And as guys, at least me, that was not as natural to me because I didn't have any little siblings. You know, I had a dog. Dogs just go in the backyard. And it was pretty mind-blowing, but an amazing experience that I'm still learning from every day. But that was probably the most pivotal moment because it switched how I approached everything from more of a what happens and go with the flow to, hey, if I want this for my children, I have to do X, Y, and Z by X date.
Yeah.
How am I going to accomplish that goal? And my goal setting got much more deliberate. And also my leadership in the household was like, hey, you know, we're not going to have this sitting around the house. We're not going to have, not that we did, we're not going to have swords on the wall. Sure. That's not childproof. But tackling those things around the house leading up to kids being born, it's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in anything in life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Yeah. And there's definitely a difference in myself personally. Some guys they have that more innately. They're more nurturing and, you know, more empathetic, but that is definitely a weakness that I had. That was a spotlight was shown on it.
Yeah. When
I found out I was becoming a father and when I did have a kid.
Yeah. The reason I asked is because I feel like for me in my life too, it was a sobering moment. When I found out, I can remember that morning vividly whenever I found out. And I had to run to a convenience store for something. I don't even remember what I went in for. But I just told some random dude, like, hey man, I'm gonna be a dad, you know, and he was like, dude, congratulations, you know, I couldn't tell anybody. So I was just like some random person, like, you know, it doesn't matter to you and you will not, if you tell anybody, it doesn't matter either. And but I remember like just the short drive to the convenience store and back home, just of like, man, what the things that gotta change within me to lead another life. Like, it's one thing to lead a wife, you know, I feel like, yeah, we need to be mature and we're going to learn some things along the way. But there was something to me about being a dad. Yeah. That was just, man, I'm going to have to, one, keep somebody alive, but secondly, teach somebody how to live, you know, to live like, you know, at that point, a man or a woman, didn't know yet. But man, it is sobering. And I'm wondering, like, how do we remember things like that? Like, we're not going to, you know, I get into my 40s, I'm not going to be experiencing having a child, a newborn again, and having those reality moments hit. But how can I go back to some of those sobering moments too, that I don't have to have some kind of significant life event happen, but just be reminded? You know, that's what's coming to my mind right now. Like, man, those are huge. How can we keep those alive?
Hold on to those. Yeah, exactly.
And it's not easy, but I think moments like this, you know, are good reminders. I think reading books, great reminders, but I think just trying to take life, you know, and put it in perspective.
Absolutely.
You know, especially the brevity of it, and it could leave at any moment.
It could all be over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any second.
Well, I love what you're doing because it seems like you're just a very intentional, maybe even emotionally intelligent guy.
Thank you.
You know, especially when it comes to the women in your family, which is huge.
And you just tell my wife that.
Okay, if you're listening, this guy. Yeah, but it just really does seem like you're attuned to them really well. So,
thank you.
And at least have that intentionality behind everything that you're doing. That's awesome.
I try every day.
Well, not always perfect. I get it, but intention's there, moving in that direction. Exactly. 1% better. Heard you say that. All right. So what about what you're learning right now? What is anything that's like life lessons that you've been taught anything in the moment?
That's a really good question. How to be better about saying no. Okay. So I'm a people pleaser by nature. I love people, but at the same time, that's also my biggest downfall is when I can't help someone with something. And just getting better, whether it's with my kids, my wife, coworkers, colleagues, employees, clients, being able to say, hey, I don't have the bandwidth for that right now. Not necessarily saying, hey, I'm overwhelmed and I'm freaking out my truck on the side of the road right now.
They don't have to know all the details.
No. I can't be in 4 places at once in the next half hour. But, you know, being better about, hey, I can't do that right now, but I have availability on Thursday of next week. Does that work for you? That's definitely the biggest thing that I'm learning and working on right now. And that's hard too. because prior to this, when I was W-2, that wasn't even a concern. My calendar was after 5:30, I was whatever. Now it's, my calendar is intertwined with 3 kids and their activities.
Yeah, absolutely.
What my wife's got going on. When my clients can be in town, if they're flying in, driving in, if they're local, and navigating all of that stuff with other responsibilities, and making sure I'm placing the right level of weight on each activity.
Yeah.
So things that can't be replaced. There's glass balls and rubber balls. It's an analogy that actually Jason Reeby mentioned to me probably 5-6 years ago. Making sure you don't drop the glass balls. Yeah, that's what I'm working on improving on.
Yeah.
And a big part of that's saying no.
Yeah. And it's hard for leaders. I mean, it's hard for anybody who's in a role of service and a role of just people, and are doing a great job of it. You're going to be the first person to be asked to go do something, right? And the busier you get, the more clients you have. And I mean, it just creates kind of a cycle. But knowing exactly which ones are going to bounce back if you drop them, versus which ones are going to shatter when they hit the ground.
100%.
Yeah, it's key. There's a book called The One Thing. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Have you read it? Okay. So there's that analogy in there too, and talking about like full swings that we should be making in life. Like when we're with family, it shouldn't be that we're like able to balance family and life, or I guess family and work at that point in time, but we should be so far swung over to the family side that we're putting work on the back burner.
Yep. And
it's okay when we're at work to be all in on work, and unless there's an emergency, family's not top of mind in that moment. So basically being where your feet are.
Yeah.
And I love that, but so much of that is that inward device. Golly, I gotta say no though,
That's
which
a
is
hard
hard.
one.
Yeah. I've been telling, go ahead.
I was gonna say, especially in this industry where it's not uncommon for a client to become available after 8 p.m. for phone calls.
Sure.
It's like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm putting my kids down for bed.
Yeah.
Here's when I can talk.
Yeah.
Or,
sure.
I'm actually playing with my kid. I'm building a Lego set right now. I'll respond to this after they go down for the night.
Yeah.
Just being
and
better
everybody
about that.
gets that. I mean, I feel like once you say it, and I think that's what's so hard for us sometimes is saying no is so difficult because we think we're letting somebody else down.
Yeah.
Going to lose a client or going to lose a relationship. And really, it's like if you just told them, even if it was like, man, I am so burnt right now. Like, I've got to rest. Like, I just need that. Like, tomorrow at 8, can we chat on the phone? Like, I don't think anybody's going to be like, come on. Like, who did I hire? This is crazy.
And what I've found, honestly, since getting better about this and working on it, is I think people will respect a lot more those who do set those boundaries better.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you're leading by example, too. So,
exactly.
Hopefully, they're like, oh, man. Like, should I be pivoting right now?
Wait a
with
second.
my family?
What have I been doing today?
Yeah. So that's great, man. Well, let's talk the book.
Yeah.
Because I asked you for a book recommendation, and I have, one, not heard of this, and secondly, never read it, obviously. So you picked Moonwalking with Einstein. And as I got this book in a few days ago, so I was kind of, reading the back cover, reading the subheading, and it's a really interesting book. So I'd love to hear, like, why did this book stick out to you? What'd you learn from it? Why would you recommend it to somebody?
Great question. So something that I struggle with is remembering things in general. I'm not like Doug Duncan, who can, he can remember the exact address and previous seller, current owner of a house that he closed in 2006. I can't do that. And I wanted to work on my memory so I'd be better, with names, phone numbers, addresses, remembering key events, not just business related too, but personal things in life that happen. I want to be better about locking those memories in. And this book really dives into how you can improve your memory. Now, I'm not a memory champion person like the folks that this author, Joshua Foer, explores, but he's following these guys who, in a 2-minute timer, they can memorize, 40, 50 plus randomized shuffled decks of cards, the order, suit, everything.
Wow.
And then recite it in perfect order forwards and backwards. I don't need that skill necessarily.
Although that would be cool.
It would be cool. It'd be a cool party trick.
That's right.
Hey, before I'll open the door to this warehouse, you got any cards on you? Let me show you something real quick.
Sold.
You gonna see a trick?
Yeah.
But being able to use mnemonic devices like associating a person with an action and an object. So just as an example, it's really good for memorizing lists, which is a benefit that I did not go into this looking for, but has become incredibly helpful. I'm not writing down grocery lists on my phone if I have to make like a last minute run to H-E-B or something, using mnemonic lists. So taking a number and associating it with a noun. So 1 balloon, 2 shoes, 3 traffic light, 4 automobile, because that's 4 wheels. And then if you have a list, say, okay, I need apples, I need milk, I need cheese, and I need ham. So the first thing on the list is apples. An apple, you associate that with the balloon on that list. There's a balloon taking an apple away into the sky. That's much more memorable than just repetitive memorization, which is like, okay, apple, milk, cheese, ham. Apple, milk, cheese, ham. That's the quickest way to forget something, is doing repetition. But what's ended up happening is I'll accidentally find myself doing these mnemonic lists for random things, and I won't think about them for 6 months. Then all of a sudden, I'll see an address pop up on a list of properties that I closed or something, and then I'll just get the image in my head of like balloons carrying something away. And I'm like, oh man, oh yeah, that was Michelle that bought that property on June 1st of last year. Okay,
man,
but it's weird.
It's great.
Super skeptical of it at first, but there's a lot of things that he goes into in that book that are frankly unnecessary in everyday life. They're just like kind of cool party tricks, like the memory champion stuff. But if you genuinely and earnestly practice what he's practicing as he's going through this journey, reporting on these individuals who are studying this, you can learn a lot and you can get a lot of benefits you wouldn't expect. The premise of the book is Joshua is curious about these memory championships and stuff. So he starts going all around the world, primarily in the UK and US, to interview these memory champions who can do these crazy tests of memory. And he's like, okay, how hard can this be? Are these all super geniuses, or do they have high skill at memory? And his initial theory was that, okay, yeah, they're all, 160 IQ.
Sure.
Laser beam, they just like look at something, photographic memory.
Yep.
By the end of the book, he competes in and wins, I think it's the World Memory Championship. Gets like first or second place. And this is like over the course of like a couple of years. Just doing what these guys are like, here's what I do. And so he combines what all these people as he's writing this story on them and applies it in his personal life.
Man, that's great. So what changes have you seen in your life after diving in and using some of the practices in this book?
No more of, I told you we had this schedule.
Okay, I need to pick that one up.
So that's kind of a funny one. That's been a change from that. But in real estate specifically, anytime my kids say something, it's been nice to, at the end of the day, be able to recall the special moments that either I had with each of my kids and remember those a lot longer or forever, and when it happened, what the context was, what people were saying, doing, what happened. In addition to storytelling, being able to tell my wife, if my wife had 12-hour shift at the hospital, like, you won't believe what Kiersey did today. So we were out back doing X, Y, and Z, and then she said the darndest thing. Yeah.
And can remember what she said?
Exactly, because I would rack my brain. Yeah. Being like, the funniest thing happened today, but I can't remember what it was. Right. Just because there's so much going on, thinking about, okay, I gotta fix food. I gotta keep them alive somehow, bouncing all around. Okay, this client's calling. It lets you focus a little bit more because it pulls you out of that headspace of all the noise, and it locks you in on what's happening better.
Yeah. So you're seeing changes that took place, not just in remembering things at a grocery store based on, the balloon and the 4 wheels and all that. You're saying like it's helping you even in the day to day.
Oh yeah.
Like just remembering the moments, recalling the moments, not the things that you're intentionally, okay, I'm not going to forget that phone number. I'm going to ingrain that. But the moment itself is something that's becoming easily
100%
retrievable again.
Yeah, I still don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, but I can tell you exactly what I was doing with my oldest daughter on June 17th.
That's
and
awesome.
Special moments like that are a lot more locked in. Like I said, it pulls you out of your noisy brain and into the moment more, which is kind of something I wasn't expecting. But because of that, now anyone who asks like, hey, you reading any good books? I'm like, you need to read Moonwalking with Einstein. Don't pay attention to what the description of the book is, because you're going to think I'm crazy trying to become a memory champion or something. Yeah. But like everything else that improves in your life is a byproduct of being able to remember moments is really special and also pretty helpful sometimes.
Yeah, that's good. The other day, this was literally something that happened on Saturday. And my daughter that night said something because it's a long story, but ran out of gas on the way back home because we were in the middle of nowhere, stopped at a gas station, and their pumps didn't work. Oh, and then it was like, well, better hope we can make it. And we didn't. And anyway, she wrote scribbles. This is my 4-year-old. She wrote scribbles on a piece of paper, and it said, Dad, don't forget to check for gas because it may be a long way before you can get gas again. And the way she said it though was just perfect, and my wife and I said in that moment, we need to write that down on this piece of paper so we can like remember what she said when she was writing this. And we didn't do it in that moment. We literally walked outside to do something. We came back in and I said, what was that again? And I don't remember how she worded it, and we both have the gist of what that is, but not the way that she used each word. And it was like, that was literally at most 20 minutes apart from when we said we should do it to when we sat down again, but did not, like, somewhere our brain got clouded enough that wasn't the most important pressing thing, and it was, stored away. It's somewhere is unretrievable.
It's crazy how that works in the brain. Like the things that are like, oh, I have to remember that. Then you turn around and it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm actually a good candidate for this book. Because we even talked about, have we met before? Maybe. Just like, man, I don't know. Your name is so familiar, but I don't know about your face, and just that's my, I sometimes can't even remember faces. And sometimes see the face and can't remember the name or, so it's, all of that is helpful.
You're meeting a lot of people too. So in this industry, you're meeting, well, the goal should be to meet as many people as you can.
Right.
And that can get hard if you run into someone at, Market Street and you're like, I know them, but I don't know their name.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I nudge my wife and say, hey, introduce yourself first. So hopefully they'll respond with their name. Yeah. All right. Well, man, I love to conclude with one of my favorite questions, which is, if you could define leadership in one sentence, what is that for you?
I like that. The privilege of carrying the burden for those who come after.
So tell me a little bit about why you use the word privilege and not just carrying the burden.
So I think being in a position of leadership is certainly a privilege. And I think it needs to be looked at through the lens of it being a privilege. Otherwise, it becomes resented. And I think being a leader is not a title that someone assumes, but a person that someone becomes.
Okay. I love that. And then you said carrying the burdens of those who come after you. Is that?
Yeah. It's actually a really good poem, not necessarily about leadership, but I think that kind of plays into my thoughts on leadership. You mind if I read it real quick?
No. Please do.
Let me see if I can pull it up real fast.
I was testing my memory whenever I was trying to recall the exact way that you worded that sentence, so
it's impressive.
It'll be better after I read Moonwalking.
I like it.
With Einstein.
You'll quote me word for word.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's called The Bridge Builder by Will Allen Dromgoole. An old man going a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fear for him. But he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you're wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build this bridge at evening tide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I've come, he said. There followed after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been, my context peeled. This chasm that has been as naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building this bridge for him. I think that's the role of a leader, is to be a bridge builder at the end of the day. And that's a privilege to be able to build a bridge for anyone coming after.
That just turns most of our culture on its head, I feel like, in terms of like just doing it for the here and the now and for me, what's in it for me. And just, that puts that into perspective of, there are people coming after me, and I'm going to pave the way for them to be an effective, to have an effective life, to make effective influence, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for sharing that, man. And hopefully, I don't know, we got storms going on today, which is awesome. Yeah. So get to hear the rain on the roof and the thunder in the background. I don't know what's getting picked up on here, but at least we got it recorded, because Lubbock, we've been getting it this year, but usually we don't get the rain around here. So this was a very welcome little background noise that we've got going on.
100%. Some ominous thunder for some poetry.
That's right. That's right. Might have to cut that piece out and then just have that playing for your kids when they go to bed or something. I love it. Well, man, thanks for coming on today. I really appreciated this. Thanks for your perspective on family business, what you do with real estate, and how you lead clients well through that. I think there were just a lot of insights that, man, they even resonated with me. So really appreciate that, and some things I want to go back and remember, and I'm going to request or read this book and then suggest this book to people based off of what you talked about, because I think it's important for us to be in the here and the now and remember, the moments that we're in. So sounds Absolutely. Like this is something that's really effective in doing that. So,
thank you, Ruben, for having me today.
Absolutely, man. Well, best of luck moving forward, and enjoy those girls.
Yes, sir. Thank you.